Hello. Welcome to a discussion about using artificial intelligence while attending the University of Charleston's DEL program. Before we hear from our senior mentor, Dr. George Walker, let's briefly review the current UC academic integrity policy. The Doctor of Executive Leadership program, the DEL, expects all academic work to be created by a human author. However, the DEL program does not prohibit the use of generative artificial intelligence tools such as ChatGPT and other copilots. Instead, the DEL program encourages the use of AI as a learning and development tool. Students are required to submit original work for all learning activities, CADs, IC posts, in-depth and application papers, etc. Students are responsible for accurately citing all external sources in addition to AI-generated text. Now, let's hear Dr. Walker's perspective as he discusses using AI with Dr. Kellum.
I want to get an AI assistant on my phone so it knows when I'm talking to you and it can just start recording and giving me summaries and stuff like that. All kidding aside, there are those tools available.
Oh yeah, no, I know several universities are really trying to do some quite creative things with AI, where they're trying to get the students to use the AI as a coach or a mentor, and also getting the students to coach and mentor the AI. So they encourage the use of AI and essays and things like that, not to write the whole thing, but to work on various drafts and ideas and making sure of things. And they ask you to keep a log of how you're interacting with your AI when you turn your paper in.
Well, that's interesting. That's I've never really thought about it like that. I think I shared with you, kind of my speech to, some of my previous master studies strategic leadership students. That was pretty much, if you're using it only to submit your work and come up with your thoughts, well, you're cheating yourself and you're cheating me, and I don't appreciate it. But if you're not using it as a professional editor, after you write your things, well, I think the same thing. I think you're cheating yourself and you're aggravating me, because you're not aggravating, but you're also cheating your professor because you're not submitting your absolute best work.
Right.
Peer review is, treated as somebody who's part of your peer review.
There are two tools that I think are greatly underutilized. And until about a year or so ago, I would only say there was one. But the two tools are using AI in the creative ways that you've been talking about, and the collaborative ways. And the other is keeping logs so that you're interacting with yourself in important ways. And I think we stress that, but I doubt, I don't know how many people actually do it. It's an interesting habit to get into, but it's so extraordinarily important. And until you've actually tried it and see how it works in terms of you understanding your own emotional ups and downs, your own intellectual growth, the rabbit holes you accidentally go down, you won't understand it. You won't believe it. But I know of very little or anything that would that's as valuable as that. And the first time when I first got into the way I came upon this was about 50 years ago. When I first got into administration, I was in my early 30s. I'm still a professor, but I became an associate dean, and I was having difficulty because it was a different situation where you had to work with very intelligent people, and I was a budget dean, so I had to tell them yes and no and stuff, and I was getting depressed. So they suggested that I go and talk to a person who many of the faculty, many of the administrators talked to. He was I guess call him a psychiatric social worker. He was a counselor that you could talk to. And he was extraordinary. And one of the first things he said to me is, you're dealing with people at the level you're dealing with them and the kind of person you are, you're going to have real issues, and you're going to have to know yourself much better. And the key to that is keeping a log. and it was very useful advice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not that I've always done it. I don't want to be a hypocrite here.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And you mentioned that, and I kind of reflect. I'm like, well, do I keep a log, or do I keep a ledger? Do I keep
most of us keep a ledger.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of a sophisticated to-do list or a did list.
A did list, yeah.
Of what happened in summary like that. But now this, and there are, I wouldn't want to go overboard on this, but I can imagine that there would be several different logs you would keep that would be focused on different parts of your life. Not that there's not an overall thing, and it doesn't mean you write in it every day. It doesn't mean that at all. It's not a dear diary. This is what I did during my day. This is when you are having maybe some issues, either really good issues or issues where you're overwhelmed, and you write for a page or so and talk about it, and then you come back to that in a couple of weeks or something. So,
and back to your AI comment, sir. What I really like about now I've got some true meaning to, I mean, we've always had true meaning to journaling, but when you associate it with AI and things, it makes me think of, which I'd like to share with you. That's the beauty of these discussions. I appreciate your time today, Dr. Walker. So what would I keep a journal about in use of AI, or especially like you said, that what I was going through. But the thing about AI is it's all about the prompt. It's all about you developing a clear question to ask the generative pre-trained transformer to come back with, from its data search. And I think that might be telling to, if I realize that for an AI, for an app, then I need to make sure I do that when I'm interacting with people too.
Absolutely. It's all about the prompt. When you have a conversation, you just prompted me. And that's exactly that's a wonderful way of phrasing it. It really is about the prompt. If we're really having a conversation, as opposed to just waiting for the other person to get out of breath so that we can pontificate, which I'm sure I do at times. I apologize for that.
Not at all, sir. I'm pretty sure we all have a little knack for that, right?
Yeah. It's just that your comment about it's all about the prompt is right. In a way, I wish we didn't call it artificial intelligence. I wish we called it alternate or something. Because what this computer program does is it scours all this data and information and articles, and then has been hardwired to put it together in a certain way. And think of all of us as, since we're different people, we're alternate intelligences, every person.
I like that.
And we are what we have read and what we have thought, as well as some hard wiring that we're programmed. And so in some ways, interacting with artificial intelligence is akin to operating with alternate intelligence, that when we're interacting with other people. Now, a difference is that other people have an emotional part to them. And artificial intelligence at this stage doesn't seem to have that. But so it's more complicated working with another person than it is working with artificial intelligence. But I think artificial intelligence is a good warm-up problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks for listening to our discussion about the use of AI in the DEL program and the importance of using it responsibly.